From small beginnings, man came to populate and finally to overpopulate this planet. So that today, the problem of human numbers is second only to global war among the issues of our time. Man's origins were in Africa. His early life dominated by the search for food and the herds on which he depended. Only by foraging further afield could the hunter enlarge his food supply. Ranging ever wider, man's numbers slowly grew. Moving northwards out of Africa, his wandering search for food would carry him across the face of our planet. Turning eastwards, he would reach India and beyond, spreading thinly over all the habitable continents. Finally, at the limits of land, there were no more herds to hunt. Further growth in human numbers would await the invention of farming. In the Nile Valley, as in Mesopotamia, hunter became herdsman and forager farmer. Agriculture transformed human numbers. Egypt alone, with some 3 million people, supported as many as had the whole pre-farming world. There were now perhaps 30 million people on Earth. Rome unified countries disunited since, gave peace to nations seldom at peace again. An empire of 50 million or more in a world of some 200 million. The Middle Ages, secure in their castles, steadied by the feudal framework, wedded to husbandry. Human numbers tend to grow unless checked by famine or war. But there is another constraint: disease. Now it would intervene as the Black Death. When its dance had done, a third of mankind would be dead. It would take 150 years before numbers again matched the medieval total. Renaissance Europe, approaching the 100 million, a fifth of world population, and advancing strongly. But plague lingered, and as cities grew, so did the danger. Century Europe, a landscape transformed. From the small strips and common grazing of the Middle Ages had emerged big fields and estates, much as we know them today. The age of the peasant farmer had ended, and that of the large landowner had begun. Farming was fashionable. It was right to own property, and proper to improve it. More capital, new crops, new rotations. A huge increase of land under the plough. new ideas of animal husbandry and scientific breeding. Modern agriculture was being created, and by the century's end, human numbers were rising 5 times faster than at its beginning. There seems to have been a link between periods of progress and high population increase. Ancient Greece spawned creative ideas and overseas colonies at the same time. The city of Rome grew to perhaps 2/3 of a million at the peak of her power. Art and commerce flourished in the crowded Italian cities of the Renaissance. Further population surges, coinciding with periods of progress, then occurred north of the Alps. Certainly this was true of 18th century England. It would be even truer of what was to follow. The Industrial Revolution. 19th century Europe's numbers almost tripling, with some countries the most densely peopled on Earth. Invention on invention, each snipping a string which tied men to the land. The genesis of industrial Europe and the exodus of its people. Country to city, field to factory, village to slum. Cities where the health of millions hung from a thread, ripe for cholera. But it was also an age of conscience and common sense, whose practical achievements would outlast its empires and sermons. For the first time, sanitation became a priority. New sewers were constructed, and clean water piped to the cities. 2 threads through the labyrinth of disease. There was also a dramatic improvement in medical care. 3 decisive steps in the control of epidemic. Was Europe now set for a population explosion in the century to come? Once again, the planet's empty continents offered a solution. The New World beckoned. Ten times more emigrants now left Europe than in the 4 centuries since Columbus. 19th century America increased from 6 to 76 million. Yet even this did not turn the tide. They were filling the New World without emptying the old. In that same century, Europe had grown from 180 million to almost 400 million. Then, towards the century's end, the unprecedented. The rate of population increase began to slacken. The large family was becoming unfashionable. Parents recognized the advantages of a smaller family. Here was a profound change in attitude which would shape the Western world. But the West is only part of this earth. To see the other half, we must move to Asia, Africa, and South America, to what has come to be called the Third World. Third World means many things. Mostly it means poverty. Above all, these countries would be the setting for the biggest of all population surges. A chain of events which began in a most unlikely way. The Pacific and Far Eastern campaigns of World War II brought 1 million men to the tropics.